Northern England, 1975. The industrial landscape of Yorkshire is shrouded in a heavy, cold mist after dark. Streetlights flicker above empty, rain-slicked cobblestone streets, casting long, ominous shadows against the brick walls. Workers trudge home from long shifts, their footsteps echoing through the quiet, tense atmosphere of the city. Behind locked doors, families huddle together, unaware that a predator is stalking the very streets they walk. For 5 agonizing years, a killer would evade the authorities, leaving a trail of terror across the region. This is the story of the Yorkshire Ripper, a man who would haunt the collective memory of Britain. His name was Peter Sutcliffe, an individual who would become synonymous with fear and systemic failure. The nightmare began in October 1975, when the body of Wilma McCann was discovered in a field in Leeds. At the time, investigators treated the tragedy as an isolated incident, a brutal but singular act of violence. But the peace of the region was shattered again as more women were attacked in the following months. The discovery of additional victims confirmed the worst fears of the public. A serial killer was active. Fear began to permeate every home in Yorkshire, as the identity of the attacker remained a total mystery. To his neighbors, Peter Sutcliffe appeared entirely unremarkable, a man who blended seamlessly into the background. He worked as a truck driver, maintained a marriage, and lived a life that seemed perfectly ordinary. There was nothing in his daily routine to suggest the darkness that resided within his private life. Yet, behind this facade, he was methodically targeting women, claiming lives with calculated, cold-blooded precision. Between 1975 and 1980, he murdered 13 women and left several others with life-altering injuries. The press quickly seized upon the violence, branding him the Yorkshire Ripper in sensational headlines. As the body count rose, the collective anxiety of the community reached a breaking point, paralyzing the region. Women were forced to alter their daily routines, avoiding the streets after sunset to ensure their safety. Parents lived in a state of constant, gnawing worry, waiting for their daughters to return home safely. The pressure on the police force grew to an unbearable level as the public demanded immediate answers. What followed was one of the most extensive and expensive manhunts in the history of British law enforcement. Thousands of officers were deployed, scouring every corner of Yorkshire for any shred of usable evidence. Millions of pounds were poured into the investigation, yet the killer remained elusive, mocking the authorities. Despite the massive mobilization of resources, the investigation was deeply flawed from its very inception. Critical mistakes were made, and valuable leads were ignored or misinterpreted by an overwhelmed police department. The case was further complicated by a series of deceptive letters and audio tapes sent to the police. A hoaxer, who became known as Wareside Jack, claimed responsibility for the murders in these messages. Investigators were convinced the tapes were genuine, leading them down a completely false path of inquiry. They fixated on suspects with a specific regional accent. Blinded by the false information provided by the hoaxer, this tunnel vision caused them to overlook other potential suspects, effectively shielding the real killer. Meanwhile, Peter Sutcliffe continued his campaign of violence, slipping through the cracks of the investigation. In a twist of tragic irony, police actually interviewed Sutcliffe multiple times during their long search. He was questioned repeatedly, yet he managed to deflect suspicion with his calm and ordinary demeanor. The man they were hunting was sitting right in front of them, yet they failed to see him. Year after year, the cycle of violence continued, leaving families shattered and demanding justice for their loved ones. Faith in the police force began to erode as the public watched the investigation stall and stumble. The frustration grew, turning into a national outcry for accountability and a resolution to the terror. Then, in January 1981, the tide finally turned, not through genius, but through a stroke of pure luck. Police officers on patrol stopped a vehicle in Sheffield, noticing something suspicious about the driver. The man behind the wheel was Peter Sutcliffe, and he was accompanied by a woman at the time. During the stop, officers discovered that the vehicle was fitted with false license plates, raising immediate red flags. They took him into custody, and as the investigation deepened, the pieces of the puzzle finally clicked. Evidence linked him directly to the horrific crimes that had plagued the region for over 5 years. The 5-year reign of terror had finally come to an end, leaving the nation in a state of shock. The ordinary truck driver was unmasked as the monster who had caused so much pain and suffering. Sutcliffe was convicted in court and sentenced to life imprisonment, ensuring he would never walk free again. He spent the remainder of his life behind bars, eventually passing away in prison in the year 2020. Decades later, the story of the hunt was brought to life in the acclaimed drama The Long Shadow. The series provides a somber, detailed look at the 5-year manhunt and the devastating impact on victims. It prioritizes the humanity of those lost, focusing on the families left behind rather than the killer. Critics have praised the production for its respectful tone and its refusal to sensationalize the brutal crimes. With a high rating from viewers, the drama serves as a poignant reflection on a dark historical chapter. The case remains a haunting reminder of how easily a predator can hide in plain sight. It stands as a testament to the failures of the past and the enduring pain of the victims. The Yorkshire Ripper case is a story of missed opportunities, heartbreak, and a city living in fear. It challenges us to look closer at the world around us and the people we encounter every day. Sometimes the most terrifying criminals are not masterminds, but ordinary people hiding in extraordinary darkness. Thank you for watching this deep dive. Please subscribe for more true crime stories and leave your thoughts below.